he was crazy for locking up minorities. Like, and he worked with awful people to do it. Like, that's what we see when we look at his record on civil rights. That's what we should see. And it's incredible to see him coming out there saying, I worked with the first black president.
The fact is that in terms of busing, you would have been able to go to school the same exact way because it was a local decision made by your city council. That's fine. That's one of the things I argued for, that we should be breaking down these lines. But so the bottom line here is, look, everything I've done in my career, I ran because of civil rights. I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights. And those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is
did.
busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well,
you can see him get a little bit, Grandpa Joe getting a little bit hot under the collar there, which is very, very scary to witness. Him just like, I oppose the busing in the Department of Education. I mean, so pretty much. So she lived in a liberal state with probably a liberal city council, so she was able to be bused to school. What are the people who didn't live in that area? That's the obvious conclusion. Why in the goddamn world are you saying as a Democrat that you are okay with it being up to the city council about whether you're able to be bused to school? Like, it's unbelievable. Like, that's not something you leave up to the city council on that matter. Like, what? It's incoherent.
There was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision.
What if it didn't? What if it didn't? What if it didn't? And if it didn't, Biden is saying here that he would have been, and probably it seems like still is, okay with that happening. Like, that's what it seems like. He's okay with that happening. He's okay with this rampant problem continuing. And it's still a problem today. Don't get me wrong, segregation, bad performing schools. And I'm sure some people listening to this show may be fully well aware of the fact that this is a problem. There is massive disparities based on race and class in schools. And like, that is a problem that Joe Biden has worked in his career to oppose. There is no doubt about he opposed busing, and that was one of the multiple times last night that he lied blatantly, point blank, about his record. Another one being when he said, "Oh, we work with Mitch McConnell on the tax bill when I was vice president." No, you didn't. He totally beat you because that's what he does. He's serious about politics, and you're not. You're a goofy joke that literally is bought off by corporations, and it doesn't take that much to buy you off. You're just in there for the plates and the custom souvenirs. That's pretty much. It's the best Biden stories are the stories about how much he loves to be in that game. He loves to be in the high position, high class areas, meeting with the high fancy schmancy people, and none of them even like him. That's the funny thing. They just tolerate him, and he, meanwhile, goes out and defends them, licks their boots nonstop. It is incredible, and he's not even that rich out of it, which is insane. Any other person, Hillary Clinton, Mitch McConnell, they are rolling in it from defending these corporations, and he's just like, yeah, I'm happy to be doing it, folks. I'm happy to be doing it. Again, so yeah, awful night for Joe Biden. Dominant night for Kamala Harris. Another effective debate about the perils of entering an emergency room. Like, that was very, very effective. So, yeah, Pete Buttigieg, he didn't do that great. He talked about civil rights. I think that's the one thing that sticks out about to me, and the problems that he's facing in his community dealing with a police shooting there. And he didn't really come off in any kind of credible way about it. He still doesn't really seem to be taking this seriously, although he did have some good anecdotes about kind of the importance of healthcare, some civil rights as well, about the LGBTQ community and his marriage that literally hung on the thread of one vote in the civil in the Supreme Court. That was a pretty impactful line. Yeah, so there was that. Bernie Sanders, he had some good moments. He had a good closing statement. He wasn't as coherent really as he should have been on healthcare and like how he's going to pay for it. Because, I mean, again, it sucks that they're going to ask you that. You probably had to answer it a billion times, but you're still going to have to answer it. Like, that's the tough thing. Drill it into people's heads, calm people down about it. And also, again, I do like some of his rhetoric about the political revolution. His closing statement was very, very, very good, in my opinion. Michael Bennet, he talked about a lot of healthcare, a lot of foreign policy, a lot of immigration, but also a lot. What did he talk about? I'm not even really sure. But he mostly seemed to just be attacking socialism, and I mean, again, he's literally to me he gave the impression of someone who was trying to, kind of, like, he was trying to force himself to, like, get mad and get passionate about the issues, but, like, you could tell his normal, like, talking voice was like this. And he's like, "Hello, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Michael Bennet." And I just Googled his name, and one of the first things that came up is his appearance at Seth Meyers, where he's like, my daughters mock me for being mild-mannered. Well, it showed in the debate. He didn't really make any lasting impact, and he's not going to rise above 1%. So not very notable there. Gillibrand, and we're going, by the way, again, in order of talking time here, she didn't really make that much of an impact either. She had some compelling answers, misrepresenting kind of her, probably the most disingenuous thing, one of the most, and there were some pretty disingenuous things said last night, was that she tried to portray herself as being progressive when she ran for Congress in New York. She was supposedly the progressive one, and again, a 2-1 Republican district. I ran on Medicare for All. Well, you also ran, and I doubt that's even true, and she did ran for Medicare for All. She was also the one who was running back then on finishing. One of her campaign mailers was like, Christian Gillibrand knows that there's a hole in our border security. That's why she's working so hard to fix it. And those that text was placed in a cutout in a fence in the desert. So pretty much what she was saying, she'd fix the hole in the fence and keep those damn immigrants out as she ran for Congress in upstate New York. So, yeah, that is very, very telling of Gillibrand and how she's had to move to the left to cater to a Democratic primary base. And again, it shows you she is really failing to. You don't want to be successful here. You got to have constituency. Biden has the establishment. He has people who want to be as pragmatic as possible with the way to the electability argument, pretty much. And some of the more moderate Democrats out there, the centrists. Harris has kind of some, I guess, wine mom type liberals, white liberals in big cities. Buttigieg and Harris kind of have the same thing. Sanders has young progressives, left wing of the Democratic Party pretty firmly. Bennett, Gillibrand, Hickenlooper, Williams, and Swallow. You go down the list. They don't have anyone. They're just trying to fight for some of these same constituencies. Hickenlooper and Biden are kind of going for the same constituency. Harris, Buttigieg, and Gillibrand are fighting for the same constituency. Swalwell kind of pretty much doing, I don't even know what he was doing. By far, in my opinion, the most annoying candidate in the debate. Just get him to shut the hell up. Pass the torch. I mean, again, we would all like to see Joe Biden pass the torch, but, I mean, no one wants to hear you talk, on the other hand. So that's the pretty important thing. Andrew Yang only talking for 3 minutes. Not that we really want to hear him. So they all said their first issues of the presidency. Swalwell said, for Parkland, for Orlando, for every community affected by gun violence, ending gun violence. This is a fair issue to take. Michael Bennet, probably the only real priority, climate change. Bernie Sanders, I reject the premise. We need a political revolution. I like that. He's absolutely right. Joe Biden with an, absolutely idiotic, moronic answer. The first thing we need to do this is, again, after he's already elected president, the first thing we need to do is defeat Donald Trump. This is, again, after he's already elected president. You're not just running to beat Donald Trump. You're running to actually, you have to have a vision. Again, and Joe Biden literally has no vision. He didn't make that clear. He was just adopting other policies, mealy-mouthing on other policies, and it was very clear. Passing a middle-class working families tax cut was Kamala Harris's one, so that's interesting. Passing a family bill of rights. We need to fix our democracies before it's too late, said Pete Buttigieg. Andrew Yang, universal basic income. John Hickenlooper, I would do a collaborative approach to climate change. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Maybe chugging fracking juice until we all die. That could be what it is. Marianne Williamson would probably the best answer, in my opinion. The United States of America is going to be the best place in the world for a child to grow up. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, when the moderator asked who would abolish private insurance in favor of a government-run plan, only Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Kamala Harris raised their hands. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and I think there was some confusion about this, who would abolish private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan. And I think that's, again, where Bernie Sanders really needs to be clear about where he stands on that, because there needs to be, and I think that I'm pretty sure there is a part in his plan for private insurance to exist, for things like for supplemental private insurance to exist. There is a thing in there for that. Bernie Sanders says people don't like their private insurance companies. Dead on. They like their doctors and their hospitals. Under our plan, people go to any doctor they want, any hospital they want. The quickest way you get there, talking about this is Kirsten Gillibrand talking about her Medicare for All buy-in plan. The quickest way to get in there is create competition with insurers. God bless the insurers if they want to compete. Yeah, other candidates who addressed the question said they preferred some kind of public option for a government-run plan while still maintaining private insurance system, at least in the immediate future. These are all the kind of moderates. Buttigieg saying that a plan that offers Medicare for all for those who want it will be a natural glide path to single-payer environment. Again, kind of politician speak. And again, can you really trust any of these people to bring real change? Because, like, we know the Democrats are weak. We have to come from the basic operating procedure. The Democrats are incredibly weak. Joe Biden, incredibly weak. Bennett, incredibly, I have doubts if he even has these ideologies in the first place. That's the real problem with him. Hickenlooper, same thing. Biden, same thing. Like, they don't want to bring this change. They don't want to bring healthcare. I think Joe Biden, in his most unguarded moments, talking to his best friends, the rich billionaires, I mean, he's saying what he really thinks in this equation. Nothing will fundamentally change. Everything will stay the same. And that's what he wants. And that's what he's going to fight for. He ain't going to fight for you. I'll tell you that. That's just that simple. Yeah. Eric Swalwell and Bernie Sanders had different visions on the future of the party, which is interesting. Bernie Sanders says we need a party that is diverse. We need a party that has the guts to stand up to the powerful special interests who have so much power over the economy and political life of this country. And again, that is the most important thing. As he said in his closing statement, if we don't have that, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. It's so important to have that come through. And if we don't have that, we won't be able to get anything done, because Obama, we thought he would be about change. We thought he would be pushing hope and change, but he didn't get that done. Instead, we ended up with Trump and a right-wing hellscape for the United States of America. And that's what we need, a party that has courage, a real courageous Democratic Party. It may seem like a long way off, but it's really the only way to make true change in this country. In my opinion. Eric Swalwell with just plain incoherence, moronic incoherence. If we're going to solve the issues of climate chaos, pass the torch. If we're going to solve this issue of student loan debt, pass the torch. If we're going to end the gun violence for families who are fearful of sending their kids to school, pass the torch. That is all very interesting stuff. Again, some more debate quotes I don't think are very important right now. But we're going to head to the non-debate portion of our show, and as an interlude, we shall talk to our favorite woman. Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen of the Orbs, Marianne Williamson.
Harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field, and sir, love will win. I have had a career harnessing the inspiration and the motivation and the excitement of people.
Thank you,
masses of people.
What is that first issue for your presidency?
My first call is to Prime Minister of New Zealand, who said that her goal is to make New Zealand the place where it's the best place in the world for a child to grow up. And I will tell her girlfriend you are so on, because the United States of America is going to be the best place in the world for a child to grow up.
Somebody going to...
a younger body doesn't mean you don't have old ideas. I'll tell you one thing. It's really nice if we've got all these plans, but if you think we're going to beat Donald Trump by just having all these plans, you got another thing coming. Because he didn't win by saying he had a plan. He won by